Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be taking a look at this really interesting report about research strategies and how international collaboration affects publication productivity among academics.
Oh, yeah. It's a fascinating area, and especially this report, Individual Research Strategies, Collaboration in Science and Publication Productivity. It's from Poland, published in 2024, and it surveyed almost 11,500 academics.
Wow.
That's a huge sample size.
Yeah, 11,500 responses. That's a lot of data to work with. What jumped out at you as we were kind of going through this report?
Well, the theme of international collaboration really stands out. The report highlights that about 31.5% of Polish researchers strongly agree that their work has an international component.
Okay.
Which is significant, but what's even more interesting is that 17.6% strongly disagree. So almost double the researchers are engaged internationally.
Right.
But we can't ignore that sizable group who aren't.
And I noticed that it's not consistent across all fields.
Right. Exactly. Humanities and natural sciences seem to be leading the charge when it comes to international collaboration. But then you have fields like agriculture and veterinary science where it's less prevalent.
Yeah.
This makes you wonder if the differences are tied to the nature of the research itself. Some topics might naturally lend themselves to global partnerships more than others.
Yeah, funding could be a factor too, right? Different fields have different funding landscapes, and that could impact international collaboration opportunities.
Absolutely. Access to funding is crucial for researchers, especially when it comes to international collaborations. And the report actually digs into this, showing that 21.9% of Polish academics feel a lack of international contacts is holding back their research.
Also like a catch-22. You need international collaboration to secure funding, but you need funding to build those international relationships in the first place.
Precisely. And this perception of barriers isn't evenly distributed. It's more pronounced among women, with 26.8% expressing this concern, compared to 17.3% of men.
That's quite a difference. This suggests that women might face additional hurdles when trying to build those international research connections.
Yes, and it varies by field as well. Medical and social science researchers seem to be feeling this lack of international contacts more acutely compared to those in the humanities or natural sciences.
So it's like a complex web of factors influencing international collaboration. You've got funding, gender, and specific research areas all playing a role. It's interesting to see those patterns emerge from the data.
It really is. And the report also looked at the language researchers are using for their work, which can definitely impact collaboration. They found that 63.6% primarily use English.
Which makes sense, for global reach, but that still leaves a significant portion, 34.3%, working primarily in Polish.
Right. And if we dig a bit deeper, we see a familiar pattern. Those working in humanities, social sciences, and theology are more likely to be working in Polish. Makes you wonder if this language barrier could be a contributing factor to the lower levels of international collaboration we were talking about earlier in those fields.
It definitely seems like it could be part of the puzzle. I'm also curious about the role of multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary research in all of this.
That's a great point. The report found that 33.2% of Polish researchers strongly agree that their work is multi-interdisciplinary, while 12.4% strongly disagree. So a good portion are crossing those traditional disciplinary boundaries, but there's still a group who remain firmly within their own fields.
I wonder if there's a connection between interdisciplinary research and international collaboration. It seems like working across disciplines might naturally lead to seeking out expertise and perspectives from researchers in other countries.
That's a very insightful observation. It would be interesting to see if the data supports that hypothesis. The report also sheds light on overall collaboration trends, not just the international kind. Over 83% of Polish researchers reported working with others. Teamwork definitely seems to be the norm in academia.
But even within that, there's variation, right?
Absolutely. For example, over 90% of researchers in medicine collaborate with others. But when we look at the humanities, over 36% reported having NO collaborators. So are certain fields just naturally more collaborative due to the nature of the work, or could this be influenced by things like funding structures and research project designs? It's something to ponder.
It's definitely thought-provoking. We see these variations in collaboration playing out even more starkly when we zero in on international partnerships. The report found that 62% of Polish researchers collaborate internationally, which is pretty impressive.
It is, but again, there's a big range depending on the research area. Sciences lead the way with over 74% engaging in international collaborations, while theology and medicine are much lower at 49.5% and 54.1% respectively.
It really highlights how the research landscape can be so different depending on what you study. It's not just about individual researchers' preferences. There seem to be systemic factors at play too, like are there barriers specific to certain fields that hinder international collaboration? Or is it simply a matter of research focus and priorities?
Those are some great questions to consider. And to delve deeper into this idea of mobility and international experience, the report analyzed how much time researchers have spent abroad after getting their PhDs.
Okay, tell me about that. How mobile are Polish researchers?
On average, they've spent about 9 months abroad. But remember those field-specific variations we keep seeing? Well, natural sciences are at the top with an average of 15.8 months abroad, while social sciences lag behind at just 6.9 months.
Wow, that's a pretty significant difference.
And here's another interesting tidbit. Researchers at the Polish Academy of Sciences are much more mobile than their university counterparts. They average 14.8 months abroad compared to 8.4 months for university researchers.
That suggests that institutional support might play a role in encouraging international collaboration. Maybe some institutions have more resources or programs dedicated to fostering international research experiences.
That's an excellent point. The structure and support provided by the institution can definitely influence a researcher's ability to engage internationally. Now let's take a look at a different study that adds another layer to this discussion. This one tracked publication records of researchers over a span of 25 to 50 years across 38 OECD countries.
So this study gives us a long-term view of researchers' careers and how their productivity changes over time.
Exactly. And what's surprising is that many researchers actually stayed within the same productivity decile throughout their entire careers.
Really, so there's a level of stability in research output. You don't necessarily see these huge swings in productivity for most people.
That seems to be the case for a large portion of the researchers studied, but it's not a completely static picture. The study also uncovered a group they call jumpers.
Jumpers, that sounds intriguing. What are they exactly?
These jumpers are researchers who transition from a lower productivity decile to a higher one during their careers. It kind of challenges the idea that researchers are locked into a certain level of output.
So someone who might have started off publishing at a slower pace could actually accelerate their productivity later on. What factors might contribute to that kind of jump?
That's the big question, isn't it? Is it a change in research focus? A new collaboration? Or maybe access to better resources? It's something to consider as we dig deeper into these findings.
Yeah, I'm really curious to learn more about these jumpers. It's almost like they cracked some kind of code for boosting productivity. If we can understand what makes them different, maybe we can find ways to support other researchers in reaching their full potential.
I agree. There's a lot we can potentially learn from their experiences. And speaking of individual experiences, let's circle back to the Polish report for a moment. Remember how we were talking about the gender gap in international collaboration?
Yes, that was a striking finding. It seemed like women face more barriers in establishing those international connections.
Right. And the report doesn't just stop at the statistics. It also includes qualitative data, gives us a glimpse into the lived experiences of these researchers.
Oh, that's really valuable. Numbers can tell us a lot, but hearing directly from researchers adds a whole new layer of understanding.
Absolutely. And when we look at the qualitative data, the gender gap becomes even more apparent. Women often mentioned facing extra challenges in building international networks. Some spoke about the difficulty of attending international conferences due to family responsibilities or a lack of institutional support for childcare.
That makes sense. It can be really tough to balance a demanding research career with personal obligations.
It definitely can. And this highlights the need for institutions to address these systemic barriers and create a more equitable environment for all researchers.
It's not just about providing equal opportunities. It's about recognizing that different researchers might face different challenges and require different types of support to succeed.
Exactly. Another recurring theme in the qualitative data was the impact of funding. Researchers who had secured international grants or fellowships talked about how those opportunities were game changers for their careers. They were able to connect with leading researchers in their fields, access cutting-edge facilities, and gain valuable international experience.
It sounds like those funding opportunities opened up doors that might have otherwise remained closed.
That's a great way to put it. They provided the resources and connections necessary to pursue ambitious research projects and elevate their work to a new level.
On the flip side, I imagine researchers who struggled to secure funding probably felt limited in their ability to collaborate internationally or pursue research that was truly innovative and impactful.
That was definitely a common sentiment. It speaks to the importance of diversifying funding sources and creating opportunities for researchers at all career stages, especially those who might not fit the traditional mold.
It's about recognizing and nurturing potential, not just rewarding past achievements.
Precisely. And along with funding, the qualitative data also highlighted the role of personal connections and mentorship. Many researchers emphasize the importance of having mentors who actively encouraged and supported their international ambitions.
So it's not just about institutional support, it's also about having a network of individuals who believe in your potential and are willing to champion your success.
Exactly. Mentors can provide guidance, open doors, and offer encouragement during those inevitable challenging times.
It's like having a compass and a guide as you navigate the sometimes complicated world of international research collaboration.
That's a great analogy. Now let's talk about some of the benefits of international research collaboration that were highlighted in the Polish report. One of the most obvious is the potential for higher quality research. Bringing together researchers from different countries and backgrounds allows you to leverage a wider range of expertise, perspectives, and resources.
It's like creating a dream team of researchers with a diverse set of skills and insights.
Exactly. And this diversity can lead to more creative research questions, innovative methodologies, and ultimately more robust and impactful findings.
It's about pushing the boundaries of knowledge by combining strengths and approaching complex problems from multiple angles.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And it's not just about the research itself. International collaborations also provide invaluable opportunities for professional development.
So expanding your horizons both intellectually and personally?
Exactly. Researchers involved in international collaborations often spoke about how these experiences enhanced their communication and cross-cultural skills, broadened their understanding of different research cultures, and expanded their professional networks.
Those are definitely valuable assets in today's increasingly interconnected world.
They are. And another benefit frequently mentioned was the potential for increased research visibility and impact.
It's not just about doing good research. It's about making sure that research reaches a wider audience and has real-world applications.
Precisely. International collaborations can help researchers tap into new markets, disseminate their findings to a broader audience, and increase the chances of their work being translated into practical solutions.
It's about maximizing the reach and impact of research by leveraging global networks and platforms.
Exactly. Now, of course, it's important to acknowledge that international research collaboration isn't always smooth sailing. The Polish report does a good job of outlining some of the potential obstacles researchers might encounter.
Okay, let's talk about those hurdles. What are some of the challenges that came up?
Well, one of the most common is navigating cultural and language differences. Collaborating with colleagues from your own institution is one thing, but working effectively with people from different countries who might have different approaches to research, communication, and even problem solving can be tricky.
Those cultural nuances can definitely lead to misunderstandings or miscommunication if they're not addressed effectively.
You're absolutely right. Effective cross-cultural communication is crucial for building trust and fostering productive partnerships. Another challenge that was mentioned frequently was the logistical complexity of managing international research projects.
Yeah, I can imagine. You're dealing with different time zones, coordinating travel arrangements, navigating visa requirements, and potentially dealing with varying levels of institutional bureaucracy in different countries.
It can definitely feel like a juggling act at times, and it requires strong organizational and project management skills to keep everything on track.
It's about having a clear plan, establishing effective communication channels, and being prepared to adapt to unexpected challenges.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of funding disparities between countries. Researchers from less wealthy countries might face limitations in their ability to contribute equally to collaborative projects or travel to international conferences.
That's an important point. It highlights the need for funding agencies and institutions to consider those disparities and provide targeted support to level the playing field.
I agree. It's about ensuring that participation in international collaborations is not limited by financial constraints. Now, one final challenge worth mentioning is the potential for intellectual property disputes.
Yes, that's a tricky one. When you have researchers from different institutions and countries working together, it can be challenging to establish clear ownership of research findings and intellectual property rights.
It can get complicated quickly, especially when commercialization or patent applications are involved.
So having clear agreements in place from the outset is crucial. outlining intellectual property rights and how any potential commercial benefits will be shared can prevent a lot of headaches down the road.
Absolutely. Transparency and clear communication are key, and seeking legal guidance early on can be beneficial.
This deep dive is really painting a nuanced picture of international research collaboration. We see the tremendous potential benefits, but we also have to acknowledge the challenges that come along with it.
That's a great way to sum it up. It's a complex interplay of opportunities and obstacles.
But overall, it seems like the message is clear. International collaboration is vital for advancing knowledge, driving innovation, and addressing global challenges.
I completely agree.
It's about breaking down barriers, building bridges, and harnessing the collective power of the global research community.
And it's not just about the big, high-profile collaborations. Sometimes even small-scale partnerships can lead to remarkable breakthroughs.
That's a good point. It's about finding the right partners, regardless of their location or institutional affiliation, who share your research interests and complement your expertise.
You hit the nail on the head. And this brings us to a really important question. What can institutions do to actively support international collaboration, especially in fields where it's less common?
That's a great question. Luckily, the Polish report offers some valuable insights based on the experiences of the researchers they surveyed. One suggestion that came up repeatedly was the need for dedicated funding opportunities, specifically for international collaborations.
That makes sense. Seed grants to kickstart partnerships, travel grants to facilitate in-person meetings, and joint funding programs with institutions in other countries could go a long way in encouraging these collaborations.
It's about making it easier for researchers to connect with potential collaborators, explore new ideas, and build lasting partnerships.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be about huge sums of money. Even small grants can make a big difference, especially for early career researchers who are just starting to build their international networks.
Absolutely. Another suggestion that resonated with researchers was the need for institutions to streamline the administrative processes related to international collaborations.
Yeah, navigating the bureaucracy of visa applications, travel approvals, and financial reporting can be a major headache, especially when you're dealing with multiple institutions and countries.
It can be a real deterrent. So simplifying those procedures, providing clear guidelines, and even creating dedicated support staff to assist researchers with these administrative tasks could make a huge difference.
That would free up researchers to focus on what they do best, conducting research and building those international relationships.
Exactly. And speaking of support, having mentorship programs specifically designed for international collaboration could be incredibly valuable.
I like that idea. Pairing experienced researchers who have a strong track record of international collaborations with those who are just starting out could provide invaluable guidance and support.
Precisely. Mentors could share their knowledge, offer advice on navigating cultural differences, provide tips on securing funding, and even open doors to their own international networks.
It's about creating a culture of support for international research within institutions where experienced researchers are actively invested in helping others succeed on the global stage.
You've got it. And beyond these practical measures, the report also emphasized the importance of cultivating a broader institutional culture that values and encourages international engagement.
So it's not just about providing resources and support. It's about creating an environment where international collaboration is seen as a priority, a core part of the institution's mission.
That's right. Institutions could incentivize international collaborations through promotion and tenure criteria, showcase successful partnerships, and even host events and workshops that bring together researchers from different countries.
It's about celebrating international collaboration as a driver of innovation, impact, and global engagement. It's about creating a space where those collaborations are not just encouraged, but actively fostered and celebrated.
Exactly.
It sounds like creating a supportive and inclusive environment is key.
It really is. But as we wrap up this deep dive, it's important to remember that international research collaboration isn't a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right. What works in one field or for one institution might not be the best fit for another.
Exactly. Institutions and researchers need to think carefully about their own unique context, goals, and resources when considering international collaborations.
Yeah, it's about finding the right partners, the right projects, and the right approach to build meaningful and lasting collaborations. It's not just about ticking a box. It's about creating something that's mutually beneficial and advances knowledge in a meaningful way.
Couldn't agree more. And I think one of the most important elements, perhaps even more so than funding or administrative support, is fostering a genuine spirit of curiosity, openness, and mutual respect.
Those are the foundations for any successful collaboration, especially when you're bridging different cultures and research traditions.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we can achieve far more when we work together, sharing our knowledge, perspectives, and passion for discovery.
So as you continue to explore the world of research, what steps can you take to foster and nurture international collaborations? Are there hidden gems within your own institution or field that are just waiting to be discovered? What possibilities might open up if you reach out to someone you admire in another country or explore a research area that transcends traditional disciplinary boundaries?
These are just some questions to ponder as you navigate the dynamic landscape of international research. And remember, sometimes the most impactful discoveries come from the most unexpected connections.
This deep dive has certainly given us a lot to think about. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of international collaboration and research productivity. Until next time, happy collaborating.